Hey, I'm Duke on Twitch. If you want to support the channel and greensunzenith.com, you can find my Patreon, merch store, and singles store where you can buy singles through TCG Player or Card Hoarder in the video description. If you want to get in contact, you can also find all that info in the description below for things like donation deck lists or just wanting to reach out. Alright, let's get right into it. Hey team, welcome back to Dukes on Twitch. Back today with Rainbow Depths. This is the second placed finish list by a player, and I will grab their name. I believe it was Wilston, which is really cool. So pretty nice to see. Hey, Ravenous Panda, a huge thank you for the sub. Yeah, really cool to see Rainbow Depths back and doing a bit of work in the top of the challenge. Hey Elo, a big thank you. Too kind. Hope you guys are well. Yeah, just cool to see the deck back. Not too many changes from Tom's list, who obviously is taking a bit of a sabbatical from Legacy, but pretty cool to see. Hey OGC. But yeah, just a few little tweaks. Like, it's kind of cool to have a Boseiju in here. Obviously a really powerful card and a great way to get around things like Caracas or opposing Pithing Needles. We have Dismember in the board, which I'm not too sure what the Dismembers are for. The Tower of the Magistrate is a great way to get through Thopters. Like, Mother of Runes can be a little bit of an issue sometimes. I think it's mainly for Magus of the Moon, for the red Stompy decks, and a way to get around Magus and also turn off some of the obviously goblins before they trigger in combat. I don't think Dismembers where I want to be against Delver, but potentially in a build with the Urborgs, I don't mind it as removal. Because we do want to obviously have a pretty strong answer there. Thankfully, this version does not run a single forest outside of Yavimaya, so there isn't too many ways for our opponent to be able to cast something like Submerge for free, which is quite nice. Getting your Mox Diamonds, very cool. Very, very cool. Those are the sort of purchases that you definitely remember, which is nice. My only other thought, and I'm just going to run the 75 through a list because they've obviously done really well with it, so that's really cool to see, is Duress over Inquisition. The big thing here is that Duress obviously can't take Delver of Secrets or Dragon Rage Channeler, so that's an interesting one. Duress being able to take Force of Will, Natural Order, Sneak Attack. There's definitely a few things that you want to worry about to be able to get your spells through, or to stop your opponent from winning the game, that Inquisition can't take, but pretty interesting to see how this unfolds and goes from there. So we'll see how that goes. Hey Perseus, doing very well, thank you. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, let's jam some games and hopefully we come out with some pretty nice plays. But it's nice to be back. I haven't streamed in a little while. Life has been pretty hectic, work's been hectic, but all in good ways, which is nice. All right, nice team. Good to see you all. Good to see you all. Always nice to come in and just see chat, have a little bit of a shindig. How have you found the deck against Sudden Edict? Rainbow Depths itself, I haven't played too much against Sudden Edict. But typically those decks, I try to get just an emergence of creatures onto the board, so things like Reclaimers in Green-White Depths, Knights, Dried Arbor. I feel like the Naya Depths list has enough creatures that you can play around Sudden Edict to some extent, but you do have to do little things like maybe being patient on an Elvish Reclaimer so it can't just be bolted and actually waiting for it to be a 3-4, or fetching in a way that your opponent can't respond to you fetching by casting Sudden Edict in response. But Sudden Edict is also just a card that's well designed against Marit Lage decks, and it's always tough to be able to get creatures onto the board to protect it, because most of those decks, especially Grixis, are quite good at removing creatures through things like, whether it's Bolt or Fatal Push or some sort of bounce spell, or even the 3-mana enchantment that destroys all 1-drops and below, that I'm not going to be able to remember right now, but yeah, that's a tough one. Grixis, I feel like Sudden Edict is sometimes a card you can kind of sniff out. So I would say Patience in that case is where you can do it. But it is tough because, you know, from early as turn 2 they could be holding up 2 mana and therefore technically holding up a Sudden Edict. But yeah, I would say it's probably tougher for this version because we have less creatures, but we do have hand disruption. So a few ways. Hidetsuku consumes all. There we go. That is the card. Yeah, Grixis also tough because of things like Plague Engineer naming Vampire for Hexmage, or even Human for Safekeeper. It does have a lot of ways to make sure that you're not going to have an abundance of creatures on the board, which is tough. Grixis just a lot of grind as well. Hey Arnie, very cool to see you, and very cool to see your performances recently with the deck, which people can find here. Moxless version of Naya Depths, which has been doing really well. For those of you who want to play Depths without the investment of Mox Diamond, which is also always cool to see. Obviously, that's a big reason why Rainbow Depths is also quite a nice budget deck in that case. Arnie is definitely the Moxless mage. I like that. I like that a lot. Also writing. I've been trying to find some time to write, especially for the Greens on Zenith. It's always tough to work and play from the same computer. There are definitely times where I'll finish work and then don't really want to get back on and start working in a way again, but I do have a bunch of drafts that I just need to finish off and get stuff out because, yeah, it's a pretty cool time to be testing out things with Maverick and Depths, and obviously Naya's in a pretty nice spot. It's cool to see players coming back and seeing how Rainbow is as well. But interesting to see us queuing pretty long. Usually it's pretty good. Yeah, I should make more effort to have a separate space, most likely for work. It's tough because I have like I have like a good setup on my desktop, and I do have a work laptop, but I'm not a big fan of a one screen kind of guy if I am going to go somewhere else. So first world problems, you know, definitely a first world problem. But yeah, big shame that Minsk and Boo isn't... I believe it's on MTGO. I believe you can get it in chests, but there aren't many running around. So once I do get my hands on a few, I'll be heavily testing them in Naya Depths. I've been really enjoying it in paper. It's been a really strong card. Acts a little bit like Questing Beast when you're not flinging a massive creature, which is kind of cool with the token. Hey, Tiny Angry Demon, welcome. This is a pretty good hand because we get to go turn on Duress off the Urborg, and then turn 2 we can Sylvan Scrying off the Gemstone, go and get Dark Depths, and then turn 3 we can play Hexmage and Dark Depths. So I'm pretty happy to keep this. Has a bit of everything. It also just has double stage in case we need another way to combo off. Oh, it's going to be Death Shadow. Okay. Speaking of Sudden Edict, I would expect Death Shadow to have some amount of Sudden Edict. I could see them taking the Sylvan Scrying here, as it is our way to turn on Dark Depths, which makes the stages and the Hex Mages much worse here. Yeah. I'm happy just to lead with the Urborg here, because Urborg not only allows us to cast the Duress, but it turns on Dark Depths off the top and just Dark Depths into Hexmage, so that's pretty nice. I could even wait on the Duress if I really wanted to play around Days, but here I'm probably happy just to take the Dress Down and allow them to have the Force of Will. Dress Down's an interesting one with the Death Shadow because it allows them to get to a stage where they can just have a 13-13 and swing in, but I could see the... oh! I didn't mean to click there. I didn't mean to click on the force, but that's okay. I think I would take the dress down there, though. I'm actually going to switch mouse to the Logitech. Brainstorm's a really nice draw here as well. Alright. Wasteland, okay. And there's the depth. So, like, it's all been drawn up pretty nicely. But what we can do here, which is really nice, is we can just go stage into Hexmage, and then next turn we can play the Dark Depths. And then we have 2 ways to make the token, which means that Wasteland itself isn't good enough. Because we can go stage into Hexmage, and then next turn play Dark Depths pass, and then end step, say, Hexmage sack target Dark Depths, they go to Wasteland in response, and then we go stage into it. So that's pretty awesome. All right. We do know about Dress Down as well, so have to be considerate for that. There's another stage. Played the Depths, and pretty happy to pass here. I unfortunately can't play around Sudden Edict because I have to sack the Hexmage. But I can play around a second Wasteland if I wanted to. Because I think it's really the second Wasteland here that beats us. They could also buy a turn by Dress Downing before we attack with the 2020, which means it loses flying, and then block with the Death Shadow. And I believe I want to start with the Hexmage. I don't want to... Maybe there isn't a difference, but I will start with the Hexmage. Ah, what they could have done, actually, yeah. We could have gotten, if they went for Dress Down, if we went stage first and then in response to that they went with Dress Down, we would then have to try to go for it again, and then they could Wasteland us. So that was actually a good play for us to go for Hexmage first. I didn't think about that, and I probably should have. And we can just 6 here because there's nothing we can really do anyway. Let's Dress Down. Interesting that they do it here. Because they could have done it in my turn to get that extra draw if they did have an out. Which I assume they do if they played the Dress Down to draw an extra card. So they could have done something like... allow us to untap before attackers Dress Down. We now both have ground creatures. They draw a card. They block with their Death Shadow because it can block. And then they can untap and hopefully have another draw, but pretty happy to take that one. Okay. I reckon Brazen Borrower could be a card to be considered. I think Sudden Edict is the big card that I'm kind of worried about, so... I don't mind the Sylvan Safekeeper. I'm not too sure on the Duresses. I think the Stifles can come out here as well. Actually, Stifle's pretty good against the Wastelands, so we'll keep those in. It could just be like a small change here as well. Like, I don't mind the Safekeeper over the Beseiju. I think the hand disruption is pretty nice at just keeping that removal in check and making sure they can't hold up a Sudden Edict. So I think I might actually just change that, and that's it. And then see how we go in game 2. Hey Mike, welcome. Hope you're doing well. Haven't seen Death Shadow in a little while, but I know it is doing pretty well right now. This is a little bit awkward. Like, there is a world where we could Spirit Guide, play Ghost Quarter, scrying for Urborg, but I think I really just want to have my mana online. And this isn't too bad. This isn't too bad. I'm going to keep this, and potentially just bottom 1 scrying. I don't mind turn 1 Duress off the Mana Confluence and having 1 scrying. Although double scrying allows us to play around Hand Disruption and just get depths turn 1. I think it is a scrying. We have a lot of ways to draw into depths, either depths, another scrying, or crop rotation, so I think I'm happy to have this. Being able to look and take something like a Sudden Edict as well is pretty nice. And also the Lotus Petal allows us to play around days, so that's pretty cool. Elves in Shadow all over leagues? Okay. Nice. Wonder if they just want to go for a... No. Okay. Maybe holding up a Sudden Demise here. Crop rotation's a pretty nice draw here, so let's go with Mana Confluence. Cast the Petal, which allows us to play around days, and then Duress them. Okay. There's probably also a world where I might want to have the Hex Mage in play and then go off with Thespian Stage to have another creature in play. Alright, so they have a Murktide, and they're pretty close to it. Oh! Ah! I took a Stubborn Denial, but again, my my mouse just... I think that's okay. Counter target non-creature spell unless its controller plays 1. That is kind of annoying, so I don't mind taking that, but yeah. That's a tough one. Third mouse, yeah, I should change back to another mouse. I think I'll just keep my hand off the mouse until I have an actual factual move that I want to make. Alright, they're going to cast a Ponder. They chose to shuffle. Okay. Most likely looking for another green source. Sorry, another blue source. I don't mind scrying for Urborg here. And then we have the crop for Dark Depths. There is a world where I could like really go after their mana here with like Petal into Crop into Ghost Quarter, but I think that's putting us pretty far behind as well. That I'd rather just try to get our 2020 online faster than they can deal with things. Hey, look at boring. A huge thank you. Too kind. Yeah, it's really nice to know that Red Epps is a bit of a budget deck. There's no jewels, which is nice. Another shuffle and another miss. Alright. I'm happy to lead on Duress here. And then learn from my mistakes. This is an interesting one. The Surgical's annoying if they go after Dark Depths, but I kind of hope that I get to a situation where it's just going to be lethal. I kind of want to take the Force of Will here, because double Hexmage and Dark Depths beats one Wasteland, because we can sack a Hexmage, target Depths, they Wasteland it, we then sack the other Hexmage in response and get our 20/20. So him doesn't do anything to that. I guess him does in a way, but at least if they him, we can just hold up the crop rotation. I think it's the Force. I think Force just allowing them to have some control over what we want to achieve is what I want to take here. And then luckily I can tap that just for black. So we know about these 5. Their hand is really stacked if they find another land. I kind of want them to find a land so that they tap out for Murktide. Wow. Chose to not shuffle. Interesting. Second Urborg. I don't think they'll ever tap the Wasteland here, so we get to go black, black, Hexmage. The question is, do I want to play the Urborg or not? So Stubborn Denial currently counters unless I pay 1, which I can. So I'm wondering if it's worth just having the Urborg in hand as unknown information and a second card to potentially make them want to him me. They have 1 unknown card. I think I'd rather just play out the Urborg, honestly. If I really wanted to get max value, I could also crop rotation right now, away this Urborg, and then play the other one. But I'm actually pretty happy just... I guess if they have double Stubborn Denial, that's a reason. Yeah, I'd rather not play too cute. Currently in round 1. Surgical on Scrying. This is going to be fine. They go down on a card, then they know about the crop rotation. I don't mind getting rid of the Urborg. It does turn off the Wasteland from being a black source, but I think that isn't really a consideration because the Wasteland is currently their way of not losing. I mean, they're also at 7, right? Like, if we take the time to untap, we also have Thespian Stage online as a way to get the Dark Depths online. But the only reason I'd need the stage online as well as the 2 Hex Mages is if they have double Wasteland. But to play around double Wasteland, we can just make the 20/20 now. However, if they have Sudden Edict, then that's a great reason to just untap. Because they currently have 4 cards in hand, they draw a 5th. So the extra 2 cards need to be a land and Sudden Edict for that to be a consideration. Which would allow them to play Murktide Region, play a land. I guess that would actually... yeah. No, because they wouldn't be able to play the Murktide. Because if they don't hold up the Wasteland on the Dark Depths, then we don't lose both Hex Mages, and Sudden Edict doesn't work. So that's pretty interesting. So really the consideration is, do I want to play around Sudden Edict and play around Double Wasteland? Just remember as well, they kept with the Ponder. And the issue with Second Wasteland is that also allows them to play out the Murktide. But if they kept the Ponder for Second Wasteland, then we get to untap, attack with both Hex Mages, if we want to, deal first strike damage, they block one with Murktide, and then we can just go for it then with Stage as well. I think I'm happy to allow this to happen. If they have a Second Wasteland, then that's fine. They drew a Brainstorm. Doesn't change anything. Wow, they just didn't find an out to it. That was a cool game. I mean, they did a lot, but it just they kind of spun their wheels. I mean, having to surgical the scrying was really tough, because it's obviously not what you bring in the surgical for. You really want to be able to hit Dark Depths, either off Himdatarak or Wasteland, or deal with the first Marit Lage after we combo off, and then surgical as well. Because we're really in a tough situation if we lose Dark Depths. But hey, nice to be off to a winning start. Vendilion Misclick. This is a pretty sweet hand. We have a lot of protection. We have black for Hexmage. We have the Dark Depths. We have the Spirit Guide if needed as well. We're probably just going to Pithy Needle to Wasteland in the blind, but we are on the draw, so we get a little bit of information about that. They have mulligan to 6 cards. Alright, most likely going to be, is it Delver? No turn 1 play. Well, that's pretty nice. Alright. Let's go for Confluence. Let's go for Stage into Needle. I think Stage I'm okay at with losing. I'd rather not lose my 2 colored sources, which turn on the Hexmage. Let's go for Stage into Needle. And then if they try to daze this, we have the Spirit Guide, which is really nice. Hey, Northern Angel. Always a pleasure to see you. I guess the upside of playing the Mana Confluence is that it would allow us to go something like Petal into Dark Depths as well. I guess the upside of playing Dark Depths right now is in case I draw Urborg off the top. And even if I don't, I can then still go land, hold up Spirit Guide, and hold up Dark Depths. So I think playing Dark Depths out here is fine, especially with the Wasteland in play. That's going to be quite hard to beat unless they have a main deck Brazen Burrower. But if they're using that on the Needle, it's not too bad. Aggressive. I like it. What list do I like better? I like this list for late night streams because the games are a lot quicker. I haven't played a Moxless Naya list, but I have seen, obviously Arnie's done really well with it. So I should put some time into it and actually have a few leagues with it to see how it goes, because it does look like a pretty strong deck, which is really nice to see. Especially from a budget perspective. It's also nice to see, I know SCG Pittsburgh, I believe there's a player who wanted to play with Moxen, didn't, but then did really well anyway. See if they have the Burrower here. They don't. Bolt again is more than fine. They could potentially be trying to get Murktide into play, especially if they've already bottomed one. Going to allow them to attack. They're still holding up the 2 here, but I think I just have to go for it, right? Nice. Like, if they have the Borrower, they have the Borrower, but I don't see us really getting there if not. Do I think this is better than straight green-black? Tough one for sure. I feel like green-black is in a weird spot. I know there's a few builds going around. I like a build with Urza's Saga in green-black. I think it fits really nicely because I think green-black forever didn't really have that plan B, and Rainbow Depths is just so much better at protecting the combo that having that plan A. The plan B is just protect the combo in plan A, but green-black Depths, although it did have that plan A effect, it wasn't as good at protecting, so you didn't really have a plan B. It was really, if you're playing Dark Confidant or if you're playing Elvish Reclaimer, you have some pretty slow beatdowns as a plan B, but having Saga in the deck allows you to have that plan B, which is pretty sweet. Especially when your opponent goes something like Caracas into Mum, and you're like, ooh, now I need to really have a way out of this other than just the Dark Depth combos, so... Different matches, but I mean, rock is always pretty cool as a color scheme. All right, I want the Not of This Worlds for bounce. I want the Needles for Wasteland. I do want the free mana. I do want the Hex Mages. I could see some amount of Duress and Crops coming out. Caracas can come out. I don't think I want the Ley Lines. Like, I don't think I'm that keen for that. I don't mind the Flusters. I think Flusters are actually better than Duresses. Safekeep is also a nuisance. I think Safekeep is probably better than Caracas here as well. I like the Bog. I don't mind. Boseiju is probably just a color source more than anything. Dismember is also interesting because we do have those Urborgs, so there are worlds where I don't have to actually pay any life for it. It's really a case of how much do I want to value or respect their beatdown strategy. I don't mind trimming. Yeah, I don't mind trimming for 2 Dismembers, especially in the draw. If they start with a turn 1 creature, I probably want to have some way to slow them down. Okay. This is all in on Spirit Guide for Thespian stage. And then if they have a Surgical, it's pretty funny. Because I think that a lot of blue-red players do move towards Surgical to deal with Dark Depths, especially in the versions with Pithy Needle. The tough thing about this hand is that it doesn't have protection, and my opponent is most likely only going to keep a hand that has some way to interact with Marit Lage. But we are also on the draw, so we have at least 1, 2, 3 turns to draw into hand disruption, crop rotation for Sajiri step, or Not of This World, which is fairly high. We are also up a game, so I don't mind keeping a hand like this and seeing how it goes, but I think if we were down a game, I'd probably consider moving this. Okay. Well, they came to play. Oh, does Petal change things? Okay. See if they daze this. I'm not going to play the Petal out because the Petal is multicolored. Yeah, this is more than fine. They keep. Go and get stage. I'm going to hold the Petal. I think playing the Petal gives my opponent the understanding that I know I can play around daze to some extent. And I definitely value just having the unknown information in hand. They know about the stage. I am going to play out a Petal here because it opens up the line of my opponent thinking about crop rotation. Ponder, look at 5 cards is pretty good. Not gonna lie. They bottom a Bolt. Wow. I mean, they already had an instant in the bin, and the Bolt would have nearly killed me in 2 turns. They also bottom the Ledger Shredder, so they're not respecting having a flying blocker. Having a really big think about this Ponder, though. Interesting, so they didn't have a Wasteland. So they must have Brazen Borrower. Which we can't really play around here. But we can play around Wasteland. So I might as well do this in upkeep. Actually, we'll go to draw step. We'll see if they fetch. They don't. Okay. This can only be Brainsboro bounce. Oh, Brainstorm. Okay. Put Wasteland in the bin, sure. Put Ponder in the bin. Alright. I don't think Vapor Snag, no. They haven't played a land for turn, so I'm assuming it's going to be land into Brazen Burrow or bounce, or potentially attack with both because they have to, and then play a... I guess they could also main phase 1 Murktide Regent to turn off the have to attack from DRC, but then we have Scrying for step to get through next turn, so... We'll see how that plays out. But yeah, another nice thing with Rainbow compared to Green-Black or other depth variants is that you have one plan, and your plan is Lage. And so, although you don't have as much to think about, you can put a lot more effort into thinking about those choices that you have to make for this deck. Interesting. So they're attacking with both. Definitely blocking. I don't think that changes anything. Go to 10. Land. And it's Murktide. Okay. So they wanted to get that extra 3 in. So next time we get to untap, play Lotus Petal, crack 1 Petal and Urborg for Sylvan Scrying, play around Daze, and then if that resolves, we then get to get Sajiri Step, get protection from Pro Blue, and get through. Or naturally draw a Sajiri Step. You never know. Alright. Cast the Petal. Cast the Scrying. Come on, you beautiful 2020. Big think from our opponent here. Ooh. Sajiri Step. Nice. That's what you want to see. That's what you want to see. Very cool. Yeah, I think this version has a better matchup for Delver than Naya, but I still think Naya has a pretty strong Delver matchup. But you have less to worry about, especially with the main deck Needles. Yeah, beating on Delver is nice, especially when it is quite prevalent at the moment. For reasons. There are reasons why it's prevalent. But yeah, it does feel nice to take it down. Always good to do it as well with a 2020. You know it. Especially when they're like, hey, I got a 7/7 dragon. You're like, hey, I got this 2020 frozen in ice avatar. It's coming for you. On the play, which is nice. And what do we have? Playing against a Yorion deck. Okay. Well, we have turn 1 Needle on Wasteland. We have Protection. We then have Land Petal. So we're pretty close to Crop Rot into Dark Depths, which is quite nice. I think this is just a keep. Yeah. Having the extra needle's pretty nice. We have like both colors if needed. Pretty happy to keep this. Opponent mulligans to 6 cards. And just a quick shout out to Wiltron92, who I took this deck list from, and they came second in the challenge recently, which is really cool. So big congrats to them, and thanks for the list. Oh, I was not expecting this. All right. Canonist. That is going to be fine. Mana Confluence is really nice. The question here is there something I want to name with this needle? We're definitely playing the Mana Confluence. We might as well play the Petal. Aether Spellbomb is pretty nice. Otawara is pretty nice. I was going to say this is 8 cast, but of course the Yorion and the Aethersworn Canonist main deck have turned me off. I really like this as like a way to kind of have a good game against combo, but Khan's also a pretty good name, especially Khan because it can get Ensnaring Bridge, which is kind of unbeatable for this deck to beat. I don't mind that. See if it resolves first. Okay, it resolves. Yeah. This allows us to hold up crop rotation in response to like a chalice for 1. Soul Guide's fine. You're already dead for the intimidation. Sadly, they are not. And this game could go very differently to how I expect it to go. But to have like the land we need, the crop rotation, and the Knot of the Sword left is really nice. It could be a kitten deck, potentially. I think it can still work under the Canonist, which is pretty cool. Not with that attitude. So they still have 3 mana. Okay, that's fair. Needle. That's a big yikes. Yeah. Yep. Let me just quickly look at our deck list for main deck ways to get rid of a Pithing Needle. Yeah. Oh, we have... Oh, okay. We do have this. So we can Sylvan Scrying for that, or we can of course find both Hexmage and Dark Depths. I think I play this. Is there a reason to just play the Gemstone Mine? So they currently have for a 5-turn clock. I don't think we're going to be able to get a Dark Depths, but that's definitely interesting. Like if we crop for Urborg, we can take one counter off each turn, which is 10 turns. Yeah, I don't think even if we hit a land drop every time, I don't think we get to a stage where we can start taking 2 off and also beat that clock. I don't mind putting Dark Depths in play. I don't think the math checks out, but I know I want the Depths in play, and if I draw into Boseiju, then potentially there's a world where I can Boseiju the Needle and then crop for Urborg to then up a mana as the Dark Depths now taps, so I'm just going to not think about this for too long and just play the crop out. Oh, the Dark Depths, sorry. Yorion to hand, okay. Alright. We know what we're looking for, it's just Hexmage. Oh, there it is! Alright. Alright. Yeah, and look at this. We have 2 mana for the Needle, and then we also have the mana left over for Crop, so we'll see how this goes. Just draw whatever I need, exactly. There is a world where I want to respond to that. Just because if they have hardcast Force of Will, I want them not to be able to do that. Urborg. Because they have Yorion in hand, I probably want to take them off the Thought Monitor here so they can't bounce it. So I do want to go for it here. Now they either have to have the bounce land or just cast Yorion. Nice. We do have Karakas in the deck. Runner. Look, someone's got to clip that because that was pretty nice. All right, so this is going to be a matchup where I really just want to race, and so I do want some interaction in most likely collectors and forces, but Tower here is just just perfect. The Stifles are interesting, especially against the bounce land. I think the Duresses can come out. The Not of This World are interesting, but I would assume they have... like, mainly bounce effects. Teferi is definitely a consideration. Hey, Aggro, welcome. I know 36 and 18 are going to be in there, so if you're going to go for the lotto, definitely have those two numbers in there. Hex Mage is fantastic. The fast mana as well, I'm a big fan of, because I do just want to try to power this out while having some amount of interaction. It could be the Stifles. It's probably between Stifle and Of This World, but I don't mind this sort of get up. Too kind, Percy. Like, I don't think I'm going to care much about, like, Emery, so I'm not going to bring in Ley Lines or Surgicals. I don't think I want that as members. Pretty happy just to see how this plays out and just try to, yeah, get my 2020 online ASAP. Okay. Well, this is pretty nice. We have the Needle, we have the Protection, we have the Crop for stage. We also have Crop as a green card if we need it for Force of Vigor. There is a world where I should be trying to mulligan even to 6 to try to find something like a Force of Vigor or Collector Oof. Hey Aggro, too kind for the gifted subs. Thank you very much. Hope you're having a nice week. And hopefully I can, yeah, do pretty well with this deck tonight. I think it does exactly what I want, so I'm going to keep this. Cavern Pass. Another Crop. Okay. I don't care about Caracas because of the Not of This World, so I don't think I named Caracas with the Needle. I could wait for them to play something out. I don't mind that. This card's pretty cool. Put a Petal into their hand. Nothing else. Gemstone. Does double Crop do it? I think we're one off. Because we can play Dark Depths. Sack this, Crop this. Yeah. Oh, so close. No, we do have it right. Because we can play Dark Depths. And then we have access to green. We use both. One for Urborg and one for Deathspin Stage. Oh no, I need another land, of course. I was thinking the Petal for a second was a land I could crop away, but it's not, so. All good. All good. Close, but No cigar. To be fair, I think that was probably a turn where I could have cast the Needle and named Khan the Great Creator, because that's the card that really gets us here if they do have one. Urza's not too bad. Ooh, crop for Cradle? We do have a Cradle. Crop for Cradle. Then we have... Yeah, Cradle does it. Nice. OGC. There we go. I think I'm happy to allow them to get this. They do get... I'd rather do it end step. Cradle does make no, but Yavimaya, Cradle of Growth, does make, which is nice. Oh, they found the Teferi? That's going to be fine. They have 2 cards left. Alright. Go and get Yav. But now we're kind of stuck because we would have to make the 2020 in the same phase as them, being able to play the Teferi. So I think Teferi actually does get us here, unfortunately. But we do get to untap. Yeah, because of course Not of This World doesn't work with the Teferi in play either. So... because if I float 2 here and crop, then I have the mana floating to make the 2020, but then I would have to make it in their main phase, which then means they get to respond with Teferi after anyway. Yeah. Tough. They do nothing. Didn't expect that. They tick up. Oh, another petal? Okay. Let's start with Needle. Teferi, Time, Raveler. Play Gemstone. Play Petal. Get rid of Gemstone now because of the Teferi. Go and get Thespian Stage and then pass back. Ingenious Smith is really cool. Especially in the right build, like... I believe there's another one that kind of acts like... the 2-mana card that sometimes sees play in D&T that puts a counter on other creatures. I believe there's another one like that, but maybe I'm just getting it mixed up with this one. Alright, Oza. They hit a Thought Monitor, which is pretty good, but we do have the step to give Pro Blue. Luminarch Aspirant, correct. I believe there is another card that is kind of a mixture of both Luminarch and this, but maybe I am just thinking of this. metal. They do also have Urza here, so there is a world where they could also have up the bounce land. Another Mox. Four mana, 5 mana. Urza again. Ancient Den. Maybe there's a world where I should actually be responding to the Saga just in case, to the Urza, sorry, just in case they hit something like Needle and name stage and I don't have time to react. Is that it? Oh my gosh. Whew. Oh, they have to cast the card off the Urza activation? Okay, cool. That's really good to know, but hey, we're 3-0, which is quite nice. Nice. It's not me, chat. It's the deck. It is the deck, 100%. Really smooth. A lot of low to the ground interaction, which is nice. Obviously, a clear strategy as well, what we're trying to achieve, which is cool. But nice to play against like a good mixture of decks as well. That's always pretty cool. Yeah, Teferi did change up our plans, but luckily we were able to adapt and walk around him. Nice. Decks felt really nice. It's always cool as well to like, I don't want to take too much time. Obviously both players are open to use the 25 minutes that they have as they please, but I feel like with Rainbow Depths, you get to take a lot more time on your individual choices because you don't have to make as many as usual games because the games are typically a lot faster. But it is nice just to make sure that you're playing around each card that you think you should be playing around and just going for it when you think that you should go for it. Because I find with Rainbow Depths, it's probably the deck where I'm going to be going for it with 2020s a lot more than, say, Naya Depths, where you can set up Safekeeper, or you can try to get Sajiri Step Online with things like Crop Rotation, or Knight, or Reclaimer. Hey Floor, if you type the same, but you put decklist, you'll be able to find it. But it should be over here, if Cardboard Live is working? Ah, it's up here. But yeah, for those of you who want to know who the creator is, or at least the player who has put up the best result for it in the last few weeks, it's definitely Wiltrin, which is really cool to see. All right. Someone else asked me this question before about being mono green, and I think you could, but I'm not too sure what the reason is from a Y perspective, because obviously it's quite nice to have like the splash just allows for so much that it's pretty hard to be a monocolor, other than mono black, which has been doing really well, but black typically has some really good interaction. Hand disruption, things like plague engineer, removal is quite good. You also have dark ritual to go off a little earlier, so it's definitely tough because mono green only allows you to go off with Thespian Stage and Elvish Reclaimer to find it along with other stuff, but then you don't have like none of the Reliquary, which is just like there's such a small yeah, I think it's tough to play mono green because the upside of just splashing for white is so huge. This is an interesting one. We do have turn 1 like Needle and Wasteland, but the mana's a little bit off. It's really just the Spirit Guide that we're leaning on here, so I'm gonna mulligan this. And this does look a bit better. We can drop a depths here. We don't have a green source, but we do just have like natural dark depths with protection, which isn't too bad. Gonna lead on stage. I could lead on Ghost Quarter, just in case they force this and then Wasteland us, but because I have the crop, I think I'm okay just going for stage. But yeah, it would be cool. It would be cool to see some sort of version with it. Lands. Okay, well, probably not the matchup where I want to have Dark Depths, but we'll see how this unfolds. And to be fair as well, there's our green source, which is quite nice. Mana Confluence. Okay. I think I just want to throw the step here, because the protection is not going to be relevant in the majority of cases, but having it as an untapped land next turn is quite nice. I guess I could also play Mana Confluence because that allows me to hold up the crop rotation in case of something. I don't mind that, because then we might be able to get our opponent off guard. If they tap out, we can then crop for Urborg and then Dark Depths. But we do have to look out for our opponent. Oh, what? Surely not. Surely they have something to do with 6 cards in hand. Okay. Okay. They do get to port us here. Probably off the Mana Confluence. Okay. I will play this again, which is quite nice. Get to hold up that crop. I do have to also respect an opposing crop into Caracas. So another Needle would be nice, another This World would be nice. They found their own stage, which is a little bit tough because it means they can copy our 2020. scrying. I probably want to keep scrying for now. Could go for Boseiju. I don't mind Ghost Quarter here because it allows us to hold up stage to copy Forest. It also means they can't just go off with their own 2020, which we do have crop into Caracas for. But I think this is fine. This is where I would also love something like a Hex Mage on board, just to be pushing in those 2 pieces of damage each turn. No land. No land, but they have 5 cards in hand. I should have also used the copy there. I should have used probably Stage to turn into Port to try to keep them off blue. Oh, sorry, green. Gemstone allows me to stage even if they use Port here to tap down something. To be fair, Ghost Quarter is probably also a strip mine in this case. Yeah. I guess this could be... So if I Ghost Quarter here and they have crop rotation, they most likely crop for Port. Sorry, for Caracas. Then we don't have a great out to Caracas. So there is a world where actually I want to Thespian Stage copy the Ghost Quarter and then see what they do. To have a second copy of Ghost Quarter. And then we still have another copy of Thespian Stage through the crop rotation, which is nice. But I mean, there's also a world where I just allow this. No, yeah. I don't mind making them have to use a crop rotation here. It's an interesting keep for them because they did have exploration, but they didn't have an engine. They didn't have loam. They didn't have Valakut exploration. They only had a way to put extra lands into play, which in this case, unless they have a Dark Depths in hand, they didn't really have a win con, so I'll be interested to see what they kept. But hey, if you guys like this content, you can find me on YouTube. In the comments. Fail to find. Nice. Endurance. Okay. Yeah, I'm not too sure. Oh, they're going to put the Ghost Quarter at the back in my deck? I didn't expect that. I thought they might just leave it. I actually am more than happy to have that extra copy. That kind of makes me want to go after their mana here. Like, go after this forest. Yeah, a little bit aggressive, but we know they don't have another basic in the deck. To be fair, I could have also gone for their stage. But we do have Boseiju in the deck still as well, which is quite nice. Tootsies. Okay. What have you got? Okay. Well, I guess the Boseiju means that we're not going off anytime soon. I guess we could set up a situation where we can double stage and Dark Depths. It's going to be tough though. They currently have a 4-turn clock. Copy Grove. So we know these 4 cards. I'm not sure why they're not playing this exploration. I guess because of the Blast Zone, potentially. They might want to Blast Zone us and then replay the explorations. I think this is a game where my opponent has to make a mistake for us to get there. Because currently they're in a really nice position of just being able to hold up this mana and keep attacking for 3. Cool game though. It's always a pretty fun one against lands. Surely they attack. Unless they really think they can't disrupt Dark Depths enough. Because I guess they currently have to choose between Boseiju or Thespian Stage. I should have also played this land last turn so that we would have 2 mana, 4 mana up next turn, 2 for this stage and then 2 for this stage. They discard the Boseiju. They play a Reclaimer. Wait a second. They discard the Boseiju? So what if we Ghost Quarter the stage now? They try to target our Dark Depths, we then make it 2020? We'll go to end step. I think we just stole this. They're floating a mana? Okay. We do have perfect 10 info, correct? Oh, no, we don't. They have one more card. They must have drawn another Boseiju. Or a crop rotation. Ah, no. Of course, they played the Moxtime that we knew about. Ah, Elo. Yes, correct. Too good. One is unknown, correct. To be fair, we had to go for it this turn, because next turn we're just dead to the onboard creatures, so at least this makes our opponent have to have something other than maybe some sort of brain whiff where they're like, oh, I can just rely on stage here, but of course they can't rely on stage here. Okay, they do have another Boseiju. Tough. Tough. Yeah. Yikes. Okay. I like the Force of Vigors. I don't mind the ley lines, and I don't mind the surgicals. I'm not a big fan of the hand disruption. I think that's just a really nice switch. I can also see myself going down on depths, and I don't mind that its members seeing Elvish Reclaimers there. I think that's pretty good. Hey, Scoopin' Response. Hey, Matt. Hope you're doing well. I think this is pretty good. The Not of This World can probably come out. Like, it's really just Caracas. I could see Safekeeper just being better. Oof is interesting, but I don't think it's where I want to be. Oof is really just there as it's like another way for me to deal combat damage. Let's quickly see how the Lord and Savior Tom usually sides for lands. 2 surgical, 2 leyline, the Safekeepers, and the Caracas, which is already in. And then he usually takes out 2 pedal, or 2 duress. Oh, keeps the Thoughtseize. Okay, that's fair. And just takes out some of the fast mana. That's actually pretty fair because we actually aren't going for the combo. So we might as well go down and keep this. Just forward modern. Very nice. Very nice to hear. I wouldn't expect anything else, Matthew. I wouldn't expect anything else. Yeah, this makes sense. And to be fair, like, we are obviously not going full in on the Dark Depths combo in this matchup, so I think this works out pretty well. My only thought is that if we go down on pedals, I don't mind the oofs as just, like, I assume they take out their Tabernacle. So I don't mind something like this. Yeah. I'm not sold on the Thoughtseizers though. It's really, like, for Thoughtseize to be really good, it has to be there on turn 1. Which I guess is a playset, that's what I'm looking at. We'll see how this goes. We have a ley line. We have a dismember. But the mana just isn't there. I don't think this is going to be a keep. Yeah. I think because, I think this is kind of a trap hand where the ley line looks quite nice, and the dismember looks nice as well because we can currently cast it. But the scrying is most likely going for an Urborg, so we can have double hex. But then we have to find a green source as well. I think I'd rather find another hand. This is probably better. We get to Thoughtseize turn 1. We then have turn 2 Oof, which is kind of cool. It's kind of tough because we can't go turn 1 Needle and Wasteland and also Thoughtseize, so we'll see how this goes. My only thought for the Thoughtseize over Duress was that we did see the Elvish Reclaimers there. But Saga's a very good point about the life loss. Could just be the Oof. The Oof is currently my way to actually start dealing some damage, though. We're definitely keeping this. It might just be the Needle, to be fair. Because Surgical on Wasteland is also a possibility. Alright, opponent also on 6 cards. Exploration and Loam. I guess we can take the Loam here and then Surgical it, or I can just take the Exploration. I think it's better just to take the Exploration and hope they turn 2 just hardcast Loam with no targets. Port pass. Okay. That's fair. Yeah, maybe the maybe the Duresses were a better hit. Because to be fair, Duress really hits everything that you care about in this sort of matchup. Oh, they drew one. Okay. This is tough because now we can't scrying into Ghost Quarter for the Saga. Okay. So they will get a token. A stage. Yikes. Yeah, Cradle tough because it allows them to make and then also just copy it with stage anyway. Oh, no, it doesn't. That's my bad. They copy Caracas. Okay. I think I'm also just open to surgicaling the Sagas instead of the Loam, and then bogging the Loam. Because Saga's the one card here that can really take over the game. Crucible, they have 1 Dark Depths, 2 Endurance, 2 Reclaimer. 2 Surgicals. Needle. And their hand is triple Loam. Well, their hand is Loam on the stack and then 2 Loams in hand. Yikes. Oh, I didn't pay the life, I actually floated the black? Okay, that's pretty funny. That's my bad. I don't think I'll worry about the token here. They don't attack. I will just get Bog here, which allows me to hopefully try to draw into my other Surgical for the Loams, because I assume that it's hardcast 1 next turn. Okay. I guess they can just start strip mining us with the Besages as well, which is pretty tough. Urborg allows us to play this Dismember without losing life as well, which is pretty cool. What do they hit with Loam? Endurance, Stage, Crop. Interesting that they don't besiege you first, knowing that we have no targets. They also don't attack even though they have Maze here for the oof. I'm gonna keep the Dismember for like an Endurance. Okay. That's actually a nice little out. They do have the Besieger in hand anyway, but can name Maze a bit here. But this match is definitely going to be a slog. Okay. Hey Scoop. No Matt, this is a list from a guy called Wilston, or a person called Wilston, who came second in the challenge, so I'm using their 75. They found Grove as well, which I think this is where I'm going to call it, but finding the Punishing Fire is pretty tough. Yeah, nice, GG's. Tough. Well, hopefully we can finish this off with a win. That'd be cool. I had a chance to claim glory. What is this? Oh yeah. Well, I'm not gonna. I'm definitely not gonna take glory for for something I didn't achieve. But yeah, really cool shout out to Wilston. Wiltron, apologies. Because you don't often see Rainbow Depths. I mean, obviously Tom took it to something. Does anyone remember how many trophies Tom got? I believe it was 64. I think 64 was the number. But pretty crazy amount of trophies in a season with a really awesome deck. The dude just knows the deck like the back of his hand. So we played against tonight lands, 8-cast / Yorion, blue-white, blue-red Delver, and then Vendilion was on. That's a good question. Death Shadow. So a really good mix of matchups, which is cool. Right, knight. This is going to be a mulligan. We have 2 ways to make it 2020, but no way to find Dark Depths, so pretty happy to mulligan this. This is an interesting one because we have the Stifle, which is always fun to play around with. We also have the mana to get towards Dark Depths. I'm pretty happy to keep this. The question is, do I want to lose out on the scrying? I think it's the scrying here and keep the crop. Crop for Bog as well can also just buy some pretty big turns, especially if we're up against like Black Red Reanimator. Flooded Strand. Tundra. Ponder. Okay. Typically, Tundra decks are going to be a little bit tough, but we'll see how this slides. They chose to not shuffle either. Okay. I think it's just stage here. Because there is a world where we could draw into another piece of free mana and therefore crop and also combo off on the same turn. Scrubland. Well, if this is a Stoneforge Mystic, it's not. It's a Baleful Strix. That's going to be okay. Interesting. This could be Espervile, but I don't think Espervile plays Ponder. I think it just plays Brainstorm. Hexmage is quite nice. But I don't want to cast it just yet. I think here we go Gemstone and then use stage to copy the Scrubland to get the second black. Could have played Ghost Quarter, and that allows us to not lose a counter off the Gemstone, which might be relevant. Especially against a Baleful Strix deck, I'm going to assume this goes long. Yeah. To be fair as well, I also don't want to lose the pedal here, most likely. Could be Doomsday, you're very correct. I feel like this is going to be a Teferi though. You never know. Prismatic ending on this. Yeah, it could also just be like an Esper mid-range deck with like mentors. Yeah, some sort of blade variant. So we currently have access to 3 mana, which is enough for crop into Dark Depths and copy. But then we don't have a way to get rid of the Strix. I think if I'm going to lose this, I might as well then just use the mana for Thespian Stage. Jit. Yikes. Alright. We're definitely playing a land. And then we can stifle the activation, I guess. Unless they have a second land. I don't mind duress here. Get a better understanding of what we're playing around. Okay. So they don't have the extra land currently. This is actually a pretty good hand as well. Well, this is going to be a battle. Could just be the sword, as we kind of get to enter these with Hexmage, but they also have the Force. It could just be the Force. Yeah. One, two, three. Teferi is tough, but at least we have the Hexmage as just a straight answer to the Teferi, which is nice. Saga would be cool, it's just a case of trying to fit it in the deck. That's probably the toughest part with Saga in these kind of builds. They play the Narset. Okay. I won't do anything in response. They can't find a land off the Narset, which is nice for us. They find another Force. Urborg. Okay, that's quite nice. I kind of hope they fetch here. I really hope they fetch here so we can stifle the fetch, see if they force it, and then we have the crop open for the 2020. But I don't think they'll fetch first because they have the brainstorm. Huh. Oh, okay. Something else we can... Yeah, the Teferi's tough, because even if we allow them to equip, we can then stifle the ability for them to get counters, which means that then if they force it, they can then remove the Hexmage, but then we have the crop rotation for Dark Depths, to get in, but they then have the Teferi coming, which is really tough. They also have the swords. Yeah, this is just a horror show of interaction. I could try to get protection here with the crop. That's pretty interesting. I think right now I need to find a way to be able to spirit guide the 2020 out. Without my opponent thinking about it. I think I can actually. I think we can go... No. Because I need this mana. Trying to think of a way to like protect with crop through step, but then also have enough mana with the spirit guide to go off at the end of their turn. Which is also tough because they gain the life of the Jide. So they will go to 22. Yeah. Beseju's definitely interesting. I think it might be Beseju here. Because we can't beat the Jide unless we have it. And I think we take out the Strix, to be fair. The Strix just has more benefit from their deck as well. Like, even with Teferi, you could bounce it to replay it and draw an extra card. But there is a downside. This also gives them now Teferi and also Brainstorm with Fetch Land. I believe I already played a land, but maybe I just didn't think of that. Esper Stoneblade. Kaldra's a really nice way to close the game out. Oh, Thoughtseize is pretty nice though. Yeah. Yeah. I mean... Alright. I definitely want the tower. I think I want the safekeeper as well. The stifles on the stone forges aren't bad because of how good Cauldra is. I like the needles because of their planeswalkers. I could see Caracas coming out. I could see just going down on fast mana as well. Not of this world's good. Dismember is probably okay, especially against their Stoneforges. Maybe like a Fluster. Fluster does play pretty well into like Swords to Plowshares. Maybe not all. Maybe for my blue count though, I actually want the Spirit Guide out and the Lotus Petal back in. 61. I don't mind losing a crop, especially against a blue deck. I think this is okay. There's a world where I want Force of Vigor, but I kind of want to just have a hand that doesn't worry about them getting to the stage where they can equip and swing. But maybe that's just the wrong game plan for this matchup. Maybe I should be more equipped to like a mid-range plan. It's just tough because we don't really have a mid-range plan. Not great. We have our mana online. Turn 1 Thoughtseize. Not going to turn to the Hex Mage. We don't have Dark Depths, so... okay, so we have Urborg, we have mana, we have protection, but nothing else. Neither piece of the combo. I think it's a better 5. Okay, well, this is pretty close to it. Keep this, and probably just bottom these two. And then we have both Thoughtseize and Duress. We don't have a green source at the moment. There is a world where we could keep the Boseiju. We're definitely bottoming the Bog. Here it's between the Duress and the Boseiju. I think I'm happy slowing them down, just with double hand disruption. And I think I'm going to lead on the Duress as well, because Thoughtseize is probably just going to be taking Stoneforge Mystic, which is a turn 2 play. The only turn 1 plays I care about is like a hand with like 1 land Ponder, or Thoughtseize themselves. So I will start off with Duress. Yeah. So we can take the swords. Or we take the Thoughtseize. I think we actually take the Thoughtseize here. And then we know about swords. Oof. Well, now this puts him in a pretty weird spot. We're definitely playing Depths out. So let's just quickly look at this. So if we play out the Hex Mage, they swords it, we can then make the 20/20, which is fantastic. If they don't, they get to untap and then either play, probably just hold up Dress Down, which isn't that great either. And then the following turn we get to untap and have open Thoughtseize. So I think we are just playing out this Hex Mage. Just put the sleeves up because this is getting real. Okay. Oh, interesting. They played... No, maybe I just had the fetches around the wrong way. Another Thoughtseize. Alright, let's float here. Oh, dress down. This is until end of turn. That's gonna be fine. I don't think there's any reason to respond to this, because I can just Hexmage in at the end of their turn. Yeah. I also want to get in the extra 2 points of damage. So this is going to resolve. And now we take swords, and then we take Baleful Strix. Now this is interesting, because if we make it and they draw into Prismatic Ending, they can go for it. But I feel like this is a desperate play. And I think because I'm playing Rainbow Depths, this is exactly the case where we go, you know what, in response we're going to make this 2020, and if you have the answer, you have the answer. They didn't when we thought seized, so I think we're feeling pretty good about this. Alright. I'm gonna go to the bathroom real quick. If you have any thoughts about sideboarding, let me know. I'll be back in a second and I'll read the comments and make adjustments. Nothing? Cool. Okay. I think I'm also happy running this back. Hey, Soft. Welcome. Definitely interesting. We have Fluster up. We have Stage End Depths. No hand disruption, but I think it's just a little bit too slow. Like I probably really want to have something like a Thoughtseize in my opener. This hand does really nothing against a start with our Stoneforge into Cauldra, which is probably one of their better starts, and also probably a pretty consistent start from them as well. Oof, one lander. No. Okay. Keeping. It's probably Ghost Quarter. I like Crop because it represents one side of the combo. And then here it's probably between Fluster and Thoughtseize. Needle is interesting because it allows us to give them a Stoneforge Mystic for Kuldra and then just name Stoneforge with Needle. But I think I'd rather just keep these and have a nice low to the ground hand. Chose to not shuffle. Okay, there's one piece. I think it's just Teferi here. And potentially, because of their hand... Huh. This is pretty interesting. It's really a case of, do we get time to set up Fluster for Brainstorm? Because if they go fetch land pass, and then Brainstorm end of our turn, we do get to Fluster it, which is pretty sweet. I think I am just going to take the Teferi here, and then hope that, because they don't have many good 1-drops, there's not really too much need to just go for Brainstorm here. Oh, unless they draw into like a Stoneforge. Yeah. Oh, okay, that's pretty good as well. So that was their draw. So this is pretty interesting. Hey Lana, a huge thank you for the raid. Hope you're well. What did you just play? And how did you go? So if we crop here, we potentially force them to force. Hey Rusty, welcome. I kind of want to hide the Hexmage for now. Oh, actually, this is interesting because they use the Marsh Flat, so this is their hand. So if they do Brainstorm, we can crop in response to Brainstorm, and then they don't have a blue card for the Force. So I think in that case, I want to play the Gemstone and potentially lose the Gemstone to the crop. They drew another Brainstorm. Okay. Stoneforge is really good. Okay. So I could go for Tower here to really slow them down. Or try to get one more land. I feel like I can take a hit here. Because if I draw to Urborg, then having this crop just means we have the combo. Another stage. So the big question right now is, do we crop for Tower of the Magistrate to take the pressure off? Because I currently have a 2-turn clock, so I think it actually is correct to do that. Rather than keep the crop to try to get there in 2 turns with Dark Depths. Like we gain so many additional turns if we do crop here, so... There's one card I don't want to see here. Costs 3 mana to 3/2. I'm not going to say it, because usually if you say it, it comes up, but... yeah, crop coming down here would be pretty awesome. Kuldra really strong against all depths decks. And I think it's a great reason to run Tower of the Magistrate. Nice. Interesting. I'm not sure why they cast the dress down in response. Maybe thinking they could keep it? Yeah, maybe they thought there was a world where they could keep the germ between it having protection from artifacts and falling off, but obviously state-based actions just come in between there. What do I care about? There is a world where I actually don't needle here and I just hold up stage to copy another black source to get Hex Mage into play. I think that's much better. Most likely the Underground Sea, because then we can also cast like something like a Stifle or Flusterstorm. Hey, Rob fighting. Yeah, Tower's pretty sweet. Okay. G-Day's not too bad because we have the Hex Mage in play. We also have the Needle and the Tower, I guess, so... G-Day not doing too much here. I think I'm happy just to hold up the Stifle and the Fluster. Rather than... I guess I could play out the Needle, but... I still don't know what I want to name. Like, there is a world where they play a Caracas and I just want to name that. Rather than try to name a Planeswalker in the blind. Okay. That's pretty strong. So they have 3 cards and 1 is Jide. Pretty happy to make them have it. Nothing. Oof. Wow. Wow. They didn't have anything. Nuts. That was a game that I didn't think we would get, but hey, always nice to finish 4-1. Deck was pretty cool. Obviously there haven't been too many iterations from Tom's list, but it's very cool to have some of the new tech like Boseiju in the deck. The Dismembers were... Yeah, I still got to get my head around what the Dismembers are for. I think Magus of the Moon comes to mind, and also just the matchups where you want something for like Elvish Acclaim as a Knight of the Reliquaries against the Naya Depths decks, so that's obviously something to take into consideration, but yeah, really cool to get there with this. It is 11:30, I'm going to bed, but a huge thank you to you guys for coming in and watching. It means a lot. It's really nice to be back streaming for the first time in a few weeks. Have a few donation deck lists to get through as well, which is cool. So that should be pretty fun, and I'll probably get them done this weekend, so that's always pretty sweet. I'm going to see who else is streaming as well. But I hope you guys have a nice week ahead. And it looks like Tagores is streaming some Modern. Gonna see if there's any... Yeah. Can we add a white and red card so the name is more fitting? Yeah, like you could definitely run Fling in this, especially against the Caracas and Sorts Plowshares decks. And for white, look, we have Sajiri Step, which is close, but I think I can find something. I think I can find something for next time. But hey, a huge thank you again. We'll see you next time.